Folks, in my opinion, one of the craziest castings to have never happened was the casting of John Travolta as Forrest Gump.
How do you feel?
I gotta pee.
I believe he said he had to go pee.
Could you imagine Danny Zuko wearing that charming white suit with that even more charming southern drawl, running across the nation, going to war and beating up college guys? And by contrast, what would have become of Tom Hanks had he not played Forrest Gump? These are questions that we will be answering in today's episode when we talk about the almost casting of John Travolta as Forrest Gump. Honestly, I think like one believable thing would be that John Travolta definitely could have taught Elvis some dance moves. So let's get into Robert Zemeckis' initial plans for Forrest Gump and break down the almost casting of the boy in the plastic bubble as Forrest Gump.
You know, it's funny how you remember some things, but some things you can't.
Hollywood is built on crossroads. Every iconic performance, every legendary film exists because of 1,000 decisions. Whether it's scripts rejected, roles declined, directors swapping stars at the last second, sometimes the actors who say no are just as important as the ones who say yes. And nowhere is that more obvious than with Forrest Gump. It's nearly impossible to imagine anyone but Tom Hanks on that park bench, offering chocolates to strangers and weaving a life story that somehow touches every corner of American history. But what if the part had gone to someone else? What if John Travolta, yes, Danny Zuko himself, had been the one to play Forrest?
Come on, Sandy, don't make me laugh. Ha ha.
It almost happened. Travolta has openly admitted he was offered the role of Forrest Gump and turned it down. In his own words, quote, "I turned it down because I said yes to Pulp Fiction," end quote. He didn't exactly lose sleep over it either, later joking, quote, "I don't regret turning it down. If I didn't do something Tom Hanks did, then I did something else that was equally interesting or fun," end quote. At the time, he wasn't wrong. Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction became the movie that resurrected his career, turning him from a relic of the disco era into one of the most in-demand stars of the 1990s. But still, Travolta has also admitted in hindsight that saying no to Forrest Gump was a tremendous mistake. That contradiction tells you everything about how huge this role really was.
Come on, man, let's go get a steak.
You can get a steak here, Daddy-O. Don't be a...
To understand just how different things could have been, we need to look at the mid-90s. During that time, Travolta was experiencing a career revival. After Saturday Night Fever and Grease, he had spent the 1980s sliding into a series of critical flops, followed by a minor reprise with Look Who's Talking. Well, at least the first one. We try to forget the dreaded sequels.
Hey you little pisher! I'm talking to you!
Oh no, what is that?
Hey, you're supposed to give me some pee-pee! Where's that pee-pee? We're talking about pee-pee here! I need that pee-pee!
Oh no, Mr. Toilet Man!
By 1994, though, he was back in the game, thanks to Pulp Fiction. Vincent Vega was cool, dangerous, and unpredictable. Hell, he even won the 1950s themed twist contest at Jack Rabbit Slim's. All of this was the exact opposite of Forrest Gump's gentle, naive charm. And yet, Travolta could have been the one playing America's favorite everyman, delivering lines like,
Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
but could his trademark Travolta grin be enough instead of Hank's soft, steady warmth? That thought is as bizarre as it is fascinating. Hanks brought to Forrest a sense of innocence and emotional grounding. He made audiences believe in the sincerity of a man whose life happened to intersect with Elvis, JFK, Watergate, and Apple stock certificates. With Travolta in the role, everything would have shifted. His natural charisma, which is part swagger, part effortless charm, might have made Forrest feel more self-aware. The movie that we know as an ode to simplicity and kindness could have turned to something a little flashier, a little campier, maybe even unintentionally comedic in places. Hell, we could have got Michael all over again. Picture Travolta's Forrest dancing across the Washington Monument, reflecting Pool with that Saturday Night Fever strut. Imagine John's version telling Jenny he loved her with the same wide-eyed grin he gave Sandy in Grease. It's not bad, it's just different.
Would you marry me, Forrest?
Okay.
The butterfly effect of that casting could have been enormous. For one, Tom Hanks might never have become the Tom Hanks we know today. Forrest Gump cemented him as the face of American sincerity. Without Gump, maybe Hanks doesn't land Apollo 13, Saving Private Ryan, or Castaway. Would he have even been Sheriff Woody in Toy Story? his Best Actor Oscar, one of 2 in a row, might have never happened. Meanwhile, Travolta would have inherited the prestige. Playing Forrest would almost certainly have earned him an Academy Award, rewriting his legacy from comeback curiosity to respected dramatic heavyweight. But here's the flip side. If Travolta had chosen Forrest Gump, he might not have starred in Pulp Fiction. Vincent Vega gave him edge, unpredictability, and a place in cinematic cool, which led directly to 90s classics such as Get Shorty, Face Off, and a string of high-profile projects that leaned on Travolta's newfound credibility. Without Pulp Fiction, Travolta might have been pigeonholed as the sentimental icon, locked into roles of wide-eyed innocence instead of reinventing himself as a versatile star. In other words, Travolta might have got Hanks' career, while Hanks might have just remained as that guy from Splash, Big, and Turner and Hooch.
Don't eat the car! Not the car! Oh, what am I yelling at you for? You're a dog.
The more you think about it, the more you realize how much casting shapes not only a movie, but entire careers. Travolta's decision changed the cultural DNA of Hollywood. Forrest Gump became one of the defining films of the 1990s, winning 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, and grossing nearly $680 million worldwide, and Tom Hanks became the American everyman, whereas Travolta became the poster child of the Tarantino Renaissance. Both men won, just in different ways. In hindsight, it absolutely had to be Tom Hanks. Director Robert Zemeckis wanted a performance that radiated warmth and humility. Hanks delivered that with uncanny precision, transforming Forrest into more than a one-note character. He became an embodiment of decency, innocence, and perseverance. Travolta might have been good, maybe even great, but his presence would have tilted the film in another direction entirely. Forrest Gump works because it feels earnest, not performative. Hanks never once seems like he's winking at the audience. Travolta, with all his charisma, might not have resisted that impulse. So what exactly happened to John Travolta in playing Forrest Gump? Well, as we can plainly see, nothing. Since the part went to Tom Hanks, history unfolded the way it was meant to. Hanks won his Oscar and gave us a performance that's impossible to separate from the movie itself. Travolta, meanwhile, danced his way into Pulp Fiction and delivered one of the coolest character resurrections Hollywood has ever seen. In a single film, he went from being written off as yesterday's disco king to being hailed as a bona fide acting heavyweight. The slick ponytail, the iconic dance with Uma Thurman, the darkly comic bathroom misfortunes, and even the meme shoulder shrug that's used today. Bottom line, Vincent Vega was a role only Travolta could have pulled off, and it reminded audiences of the charisma that made him famous in the first place. In the end, both he and Hanks became legends for these roles. Somewhere though in that alternate timeline, John Travolta is sitting on that park bench handing chocolates to strangers and recounting his life story with that unmistakable Travolta twist. In that version of history, Forrest Gump becomes a different kind of cultural artifact, and in that universe, film nerds debate to ask the truly absurd question: what if Tom Hanks had been Vincent Vega, wielding a syringe and twisting across Jack Rabbit Slim's dance floor?
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
It's fun to imagine, but we can all agree that the versions we got were better. Sometimes the greatest what-ifs in Hollywood are the ones that remained untouched. Little reminders that cinema is as much about the roles not taken as it is about the ones that define careers. And maybe that's the lesson buried in Travolta's decision. Saying no to Forrest Gump wasn't a derailleur of his career, but one that reshaped it. And sometimes saying no is just as important than saying yes.
I think we should be leaving now.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.